Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the all-enlightened Buddha. It's a great privilege for me to speak to you from New York, Staten Island, on the sublime Dharma that the Buddha introduced to this world in the 6th century BC. Strangely enough, it is more relevant to our life now than it used to be. The Buddha spoke about the Four Noble Truths. A truth is something that is absolute. A truth cannot change from time to time or place to place or person to person. And these Four Noble Truths have stood the test of time. As you may be knowing, the Four Noble Truths are unsatisfactoriness or dukkha, the cause of unsatisfactoriness, the eradication of the cause, and the path leading to the eradication of this cause. Now this is the Four Noble Truths. These are the Four Noble Truths, and all Buddhism comes under the purview of the Four Noble Truths. Really, there is no Buddhism outside the Four Noble Truths. So we have to understand, at least at a theoretical level, at an intellectual level, what the Four Noble Truths are. Later, I will try to explain to you how we may use this knowledge to solve problems of every day and to do it as a meditation by its own right. The first Noble Truth speaks of unsatisfactoriness or dukkha. Now, it's a big enigma. What is the reason that the Buddha spoke of unsatisfactoriness? Surely there is quite a lot of happiness in this world. When I came to America, I was stupefied when I saw the beautiful countryside, the scenery, the flowers, the exquisite buildings, cars, everything. There didn't seem to be any unhappiness around, any unsatisfactoriness around. Really, this is true. We are not suffering all day. We have so many good things to see, good things to hear, good things to smell, good things to taste, good things to touch. With our sensory organs, we have so many objects of the senses that are very happy and satisfying, and good things to think about. So, in spite of that, why did the Buddha say it is unsatisfactory? One may say it is because birth is dukkha, unsatisfactory. When a baby is born, we know how difficult it is for the baby to be suddenly pushed into the outside, and suddenly the light appears on his eyes, and the sounds are heard, and there is bodily touch and cold and heat, and then he cries for fear, and then for the first time the air enters his lungs. Ever since, he has to be breathing, he has to depend on the outside for air, and he has to eat food. That's also outside. We have to get food from outside, and then he has to have heat and water. These are the four elements that we need to sustain our body. So you will see how many tons of food we have eaten. What has happened to the food? They all get absorbed and then they disintegrate, producing our physical strength, and then they disappear. And again we need to eat food. If there is no food, we die. If there is no air, we die. If there is no water, we die. If the heat is too much, we will be burned to ash. If the heat is too little, we will be frozen dead. So you see how we are dependent on the outside elements for our very sustenance. And this is unsatisfactory. Say in this country you have plenty of food to eat, but even then getting good things is difficult. Maintaining good things is difficult. If you lose good things, it's difficult. So it is difficult to get, difficult to maintain, and difficult to lose. So all good things come with this unsatisfactoriness inbuilt. Of course, we will say, never mind, we are willing to pay the price. We have enough food. We are happy with our life. Yes, we get constant food. That means we have to work for it. That means we have to earn money. And we have to build houses because we cannot stay in the cold outside. We have to buy cars and maintain all of it, because not only do we need food and lodging, but so many other accessory things to keep us alive and happy. In other words, we have to depend on the environment for our happiness. Now, this is not easy. Say, you see good things, you hear good things. Are you satisfied if you see good things just once? No. If you see good things, you have to see it again and again and again. If you hear a good thing, you are not satisfied just listening to it once, hearing it once. We have to hear good things again and again. And good food just once is not enough. We have to eat again and again good, tasty food. So these things come from the environment: sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touch. And if these are satisfactory, then we are happy. If these are unsatisfactory, then we are unhappy. But the same thing may become unsatisfactory after a while. For instance, supposing you have some good food in front of you. Before you eat, say you are very hungry, then the food looks delicious. The color, the shape, the smell, the taste, all of it is so delicious. But supposing after you eat some food and you are full, after that you can't eat this food anymore. The very food which you liked with such relish cannot be now enjoyed, because you are now full and you don't want even to see the sight of it anymore. You even get up and go away. You wash and put away all the dishes, because the smell, the sight, the taste, none of it is attractive. Now what has happened? The very thing, after a few minutes, after you have partaken of it, becomes something unsatisfactory. Also, say after 3 hours, 4 hours, you are hungry again. And then you will think, that food, if only I can get it. So you see, the whole world, the whole life is spent like this, procuring good things, and they are disappearing again and again. And to maintain a steady supply of good things to see, good things to smell, good things to taste, good things to touch, good things to eat, taste is not easy, because the outside environment is also changing and we are also changing. Our responses are not the same for the same outside object. Different times our body is bringing up pain in various ways. So when we are hungry, the food is good, but when we are not hungry, the food is not good. We have to change postures all the time. Why is that? When you sit, you are uncomfortable, then you have to stand. Then standing becomes uncomfortable, you walk. When walking is uncomfortable, you lie down. When lying down is uncomfortable, you stand. So in this way, why are we changing postures? Always unsatisfactoriness arises from our body. So we have to change postures. Why do we breathe? Because when we breathe in, we are happy. But if you keep the breath long, it will be most unhappy. You have to breathe out. So once you breathe out, you don't stay too long, you have to breathe in. So when breathing is in is unhappy, we breathe out. When breathing out is unhappy, we breathe in. So this has to go on till the end of our life. And this is unhappy. This is unsatisfactory. Because we have to depend on the world. You cannot say, now I have been breathing for so many years, I am going to have 5 minutes rest. No, you will die. So you see, we are dependent on the outside world. And also, birth is difficult, and death, sickness, these things come from nowhere. Accidents, they come from nowhere. However much you have all the pleasures in the world, one sickness is enough for you to be dispossessed of everything. And at death, surely, we have to give up everything we thought was ours. So the Buddha saw that this is nothing peculiar to you or me or anyone else. It is a common factor. It is universal. It can be applied to the past, present and the future. And this unsatisfactoriness is as far as we can see. But the Buddha saw more than this. Once we die, it doesn't end there. The mind, as you know, is a very strong power. And the speed of the change of mind is more than the speed of light. So at death, the body dies, but the mind does not die. The mind takes another rebirth. And again we are starting life in a new situation. Just like we started life here. We didn't know who the parents were. We didn't know what the environment was. We just came totally unprepared, a little baby in arms. And luckily we had our parents and everyone to look after us. If not, we would have died then and there. And the teachers to teach us the ABCD. If not, we would have been so ignorant. And all the facilities in the environment giving us the proper environment. If not, we will die. So now once we die here, the body dies and the mind gets another rebirth. Goodness knows where. If you have done good karma, if you have been leading a noble life as a human being, the chances are that you will have a good rebirth, either in the heaven or in the human realm in an auspicious way. But if your life has been one of a subhuman level, animal-like, prone to anger, hatred, and most greedy and despicable, then you cannot expect to have a good rebirth. So then you will end up as a subhuman, maybe an animal mother, and then you get the life of an animal. the body of an animal. So in this way, life goes on, birth after birth. There is no end to this samsaric cycle. When we understand this, we have to understand what a terrible disaster this is. There is no beginning, there is no end. And the Buddha saw this utmost unsatisfactoriness of life. You will see that though we need the food doesn't need us. You will see that though we need the air doesn't need us. We need the water, but the water doesn't need us. We need the heat, but the heat doesn't need us. So in this way we find that we are shackled because of our own need, because of our greed and our necessities. We are shackled to the world. The world can go on without any one of us. The Buddha saw all this and declared, well, this is something we have to be very, very knowledgeable about. If we understand this, then we know what life is about. So this is the first noble truth. And the second noble truth, then the Buddha tried to find out what is the second noble truth, what is the cause of this? What is the cause of this unsatisfactoriness? And then the Buddha found out the second noble truth, which is greed, ego, me, I, mine, myself, my ownership, my loves, my hates. Everything is dependent and originating in this ego-bound greed. When we don't satisfy our greed, then we get hate. We are angry because we cannot satisfy ourselves. And then anger arises. And all defilements arise because of this innate nature for attachment and greed. And this was the second noble truth that the Buddha found out. Then the Buddha went on to see, is there any way that we can get rid of this situation? Yes, you can. If you get rid of the cause, then automatically all the unsatisfactoriness disappears. Now what is the cause? Giving up of desire, giving up of attachment and greed and me and I. But this is not easy because the whole world is going on greed. The whole world wants attachment because, as you may realize, attachment, desire gives a happy sensation. Nobody wants to give up the happy sensation that attachment and greed and power and ego, these things give us. But people can slightly understand that when our greed is not satisfied, anger results. And anger has a very unhappy emotion. It's painful emotion. Therefore, people try to think that anger is bad, but greed is okay. But really, greed is the cause of anger. Therefore, the Buddha said, the ultimate, the basic problem is greed. Anger has its limitation because it has its painful sensation, and we try to make an effort to get rid of anger. But greed, we don't make an effort. We can live with greed and power and with ego and satisfaction even till the end of our life, never even knowing that that is the cause for all the unhappiness in the world. So the Buddha found this, and he said that it is possible to get rid of greed in this very world. And that is the third noble truth. And the final arahant, the final sainthood, there are 4 sainthoods: first saint, second saint, third saint, and fourth saint. Gradually, as they come up in sainthood, they give up greed and attachment. They give up anger and fear and doubt and all associated defilements in the mind. And in the final sainthood, they completely eradicate the cause, namely the greed and attachment. And that is the final sainthood. And thereafter, because he has no more greed for anything, he doesn't take a rebirth. At death, his mind is not seeking a new life because his innate desires are not there anymore, and therefore he doesn't take another rebirth. So in this way, he gets rid of all the agonizing round of rebirth in samsara. So the Buddha advised us to understand this noble truth of suffering or unsatisfactoriness. When we understand that, we must also understand what is the cause of it. Now, I want to talk to you about the cause, the greed. As I told you before, greed by itself is satisfactory, is happy. For instance, I'll give you a small example. Suppose we lose all our money. We are very unhappy. Suppose somebody else in the neighborhood or somewhere else, he loses all his money. Are you unhappy? No. Why is that? If I lose my money, I am unhappy. If someone else loses his money, I am not unhappy. What is the reason for that? Because for my money, I have attachment and greed. Therefore, my unhappiness has arisen because of my attachment. For other people's money, I have no attachment, no greed. Therefore, I do not lament if they lose their money. So, if there is attachment, then there is sorrow. Supposing someone dies in your family, we feel very unhappy. We cry all day. But if somebody else dies around, someone else, we don't cry all day. Why is that? Because we have attachment to our family, and when we lose our attachment, we get angry, we get sorrowful. But if we have no attachment, there is no sorrow. So this is a simple example to show you that it is attachment that is bringing up our sorrow. Supposing we win a ticket, we win a lottery ticket for $1 million. We are very happy because there is attachment. Supposing you lose all that money, you are most unhappy. So you see, the more attachment, the more unhappiness. So the Buddha saw that attachment is the cause of sorrow. In itself, it is not a sorrow, but if you lose it or you don't, you cannot maintain it. Say you buy a new car, you are happy, but maintaining it is difficult. If you lose it, it's difficult. And then you suffer with it. Supposing your car, you sell it to somebody, and that car meets with an accident. Are you unhappy? No, because it is not my car anymore. So in that way, we have to understand that if it is yours and if you are attached, then that attachment can bring sorrow. So this is the second noble truth. And the third noble truth is the eradication of this desire. Now I will show you a way how we can apply this in daily situation. It's a meditation by its own right. Supposing you have some sorrow, somebody has insulted you, somebody has hurt you, somebody has robbed you, or somebody has insulted your child or your friend, or hurt your friend, or someone is supporting your enemy. These are the things. Any of these, all of it, can bring us tremendous sorrow. So when sorrow appears, I want you to learn how to apply the Four Noble Truths to overcome that sorrow, any sorrow. As soon as sorrow appears, unsatisfactoriness appears, watch it. This is vipassana. This is the meditation by its own right. You watch the sorrow, see how painful it is, and understand it as the first noble truth of the Buddha. It is universal, it is the same for me and for the entire world. Then try to see what is the cause of it, and you will see that it has something to do with me and I and my desire and my power and my ego. Then temporarily, just at that moment, get rid of that desire, just for that moment. Get rid of that anger, get rid of that pride, that conceit, and then automatically, at once you will find there is no more painful mind, no more sorrow. As soon as you get rid of the cause of it, then you forgive the world and you become an enlightened person just temporarily. So again and again you can use this method. Whenever you see unsatisfactoriness, when it arises in the mind, understand it as the first noble truth. Then understand what is the cause of my sorrow, and you will recognize the second noble truth, which is desire or ego, and try to get rid of that. And then you are in sainthood just for that moment, because you have given up the sorrow. And also, you can practice it again and again till it becomes a habit of the mind. Then you have won a situation, because at an intellectual level, at a mental level, we have given up all the defilements in the mind.